here with some of the team behind When a Witness Recants. Thank you so much for being here. Gentlemen, thank you so much for sharing your story in the movie in this way. The first thing I just want to ask is, what has it been like for the three of you in the few years since you were released? Have you been trying to sort of regain the lives that were taken from you?
Yeah. The truth be told, it's been ups and downs, but it's been hard. It's been hard. It ain't been an easy road, trying to transition back into society, trying to learn new things, learn people, learn mentalities, It's been a challenge. I can't say it's been the greatest thing, right? But it's been better than it was, right? And this platform that HBO has given us, it's helped us a lot. Open some doors, open our perception, our thinking about how we see people, how people see us, how we see life. So in that regard, it's challenging, but it's worth it.
Alfred, do you want anything?
That's about learning life all over again. It's been kind of hard, you know what I mean? And just trying to learn people all over again, relationships, something that we haven't had experience of, and learning our family all over again. It's been challenging.
Yeah. Ransom, for you?
Yeah, for me, a lot of therapy. That's what I think is very important for somebody who has been gone such a long time, mainly away from your family. A lot of therapy, because you're going to need it. A lot of trauma. And it's not going to happen overnight. You just spent 36 years in, so don't think, I even tell my brothers and them, don't think that it's going to happen overnight. You may never get rid of this trauma, but you can learn how to deal with it. And a lot of therapy helps. Yeah, it helps it a long way.
Because, Dawn, how was it that you came to connect their story with Ta-Nehisi and to begin the project of the movie?
It's really Ta-Nehisi who and his wife, Kenyana Matthews, who actually brought it to me. I'll let you talk about how you came to the story. Maybe we should start with that. Is that okay?
Wow. Wait, tell me, I just want to make sure I got my years right. What was the year to kill it? What year was that? Is this 82, 83?
83.
Yes, sir. Okay. So when I was 7 years old, obviously the events took place that brought this entire film to light and made it necessary, unfortunately. And that was obviously DeWitt's murder. And, when something happens and you're that young, you don't really remember it as, history. I was telling the guys earlier today, it just kind of was a memory of something that happened in the back of my head for why I couldn't have a Georgetown starter jacket or any starter jacket at all. But I didn't really completely, I actually even doubted that this has actually happened. But I told the story over and over again. And then, my wife read Jennifer Garnerman's incredible journalism in the New Yorker. And the idea of a film immediately came to her. And for me, it was just the fact of giving something back to these brothers on behalf of the community that did not protect them. Now, there are all sorts of reasons for why that happened. That's a complicated statement, but the fact of the matter is it did happen. I think what makes this story a little different is that, I, as somebody, as a member of, the community of Baltimore, the Black community of Baltimore, I feel a little weight about this. Little bit of weight about this. And need to, make some sort of reparation, if I could put it. And I just think, the job Dawn did went beyond anything that I could have expected, that to be.
Because, Dawn, so once the story came to you, what happened next? How did you sort of move forward with the project in connecting all of them?
I've done a number of projects about the criminal legal system. My first film, Gideon's Army, about 3 young public defenders, was here, premiered at Sundance. I just finished something called the Sing Sing Chronicles about it's 5 wrongfully convicted men who got out through journalism. But this story was different. And this story, probably more than any other I've ever worked on, it showed all the layers and all of the places where injustice can happen. And a lot of it is there's some intentional malfeasance, but there's also just indifference, not listening, coercing other children. And one of the things that I really responded to is what Ta-Nehisi and Kenyatta brought, which is there are so many victims in this, and one of them is the community, that loss of trust, that loss of innocence. Okay, stay there. Something Ta-Nehisi did that was so important, I think, and really set us on the path that we all have come to together, is he went to Baltimore and met with the three gentlemen. I was on a Zoom, and explained why we wanted to do this. That it wasn't just sensationalism. It was, and as I remember it, what the real thing they said to us, kind of look you in the eye, and they said, "Will you tell the truth?" And when somebody looks at you and they're putting their life story in your hands, it adds a weight and a responsibility, but also a purpose. And so when things get hard in making film, things are always hard, but I always thought back to that conversation. They never asked us what was happening, what did it look like. They trusted us. And you have to earn and can keep earning that trust. You have to keep earning it all through the process. So I think I'm very grateful that we started this with that conversation.
Because what was the process like for the three of you in making the film? Alfred, how did you find the process of just being part of the documentary?
It was emotional, Al three of us was emotional about it. And Al Truth and the Witness Truth and whatever, we expounded on it, and it was kind of hard, Yeah.
Ransom, how did you find working on the film?
Well, first of all, it was more of getting to know the cast. I mean, the people that was around us.
Yeah.
Like Dawn was saying, our trust in people it's not great at all. When you had that taken from you as a child, you don't want to let your guard down because you hadn't heard it before from people in authority. Well, we'll take care of you. We're going to make sure we do the right thing. But I think the thing about this is that they came with that motherly trust love, the women on the set. And they understood that you're looking at grown men, but you still have that 16-year-old kid trauma that's inside of us. And they knew how to deal with that, to make us feel comfortable where we would, them layers that we had blocking everything, was letting them in little by little.
And Andrew, for you?
Same for me as for Ransom and Alfred. Trust is a major component of our lives, right? And I trust them with anything and everything I have, right? And to have somebody else come into that framework and we trust them. We sat down after Ta-Nehisi had a conversation with us and was like, are we doing this? We really doing this? Do we trust them? Right? And the first thing Ransom said was, man, Don has given us a trust, like a motherly love trust. And when he said that, I was like, okay, we doing this. Because I felt the same way, Alfred felt the same way, and that's all that mattered to us. Let the story be told in a way that not only represents us, right, but represents them and gives the family of the victims some clarity, right? That's what really needs to be done. So the trust factor was major for us.
Because, Dawn, one of the most powerful moments in the film is when the three of them meet one of their accusers who testified against them. Can you talk a little bit about just sort of arranging that moment and what you wanted that to be in the film?
So Ron Bishop, who is was really the primary witness against them, sent them to prison by testifying not untruthfully, by lying on the stand. And they knew him. They knew each other. And so the levels of betrayal were deep. And to tell you the truth, I did not want I was very worried about this meeting. They had not seen each other. Probably the last time you saw him was in a courtroom. right?
Yes.
And so on the one hand, you can imagine we're doing interviews over time with the three gentlemen. We're also simultaneously but separately speaking with Ron. And I knew the story that he had to learn to live with himself. You know, like he certainly was a victim by being coerced, but he also had to live with what he had done, and that he knew what he had done. The world did not know what he had done. And living with guilt is hard. So I was very apprehensive. They wanted to meet him. It was their idea. Ron wanted to get together with them. And so I think I put it off until like way into the process. But then they came to that meeting so open and so ready. They just wanted, I don't want to speak for you, but they just wanted to hear him say, I'm sorry. That was it. Had he just said that, it would have been a different ending. And so it just broke my heart for all of them that, you know, I think everybody was hoping that they could really get some peace that they deserved. I will tell you one thing that will never leave me, and it's really important for filmmakers. Our cameraman, Brian Gentry, was an African-American gentleman, did all of the interviews, and you gain a relationship with your subjects when you're with them over time. And after the meeting, which was really, really hard, there was a lot of emotion, a lot of, particularly Andrew, just really overcome with, I think, you can speak to this, I think you're holding all this and hoping for something, and then when it doesn't happen, it's even worse. You're re-victimized again. But the person Andrew went to first was our cameraman, Brian. And, you know, kind of fell into his arms. And Brian held him. And I thought, he's made a relationship with Brian, too. It's not just a relationship with us. It's everyone you bring into that room becomes part of that circle. And so I only bring people in who can handle that and who can respect the story and the human beings that we are speaking to. So this is a very emotional movie. But these three gentlemen, we could tell they were going deep. And they were giving that to us, and then we had to do justice to what the opportunity we were given.
And Ta-Nehisi, at one point in the film, you say the law is above the law. And I think that's something that a lot of people are feeling right now with the images that we're seeing from Minnesota and from elsewhere in the country. How do you make sense of these images that we're seeing around the country right now?
I mean, pretty easily. One of the messages of this film is that there's a world that most Americans live in which the police are an image of trust and morality and upstandingness. And we would like to live in that world too. Some of us even thought we did. You know what I mean? But I think for most of America, they spend many years believing that. And I think what has happened really over the past 15 years or so, honestly, since you got the camera phone, is people are very gradually being disabused of that fact and so, or of that belief. And so, you know, it begins with seeing it happen to Black people. You know, it begins with seeing it happen to Black men and Black women right in front of you. And some white folks see that, and they decide that, you know, they don't want to live in a world where things like that happen. Mm-hmm. And then they decide they're going to stand up, and they quickly realize that the law can be turned against them too. Mm. And that is, you know, I don't rejoice in any of that. But I do come back to the fact that what you're seeing play out across the country is connected to this story. Trump wanted to put the Central Park Five to death. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the same people. These are not, you know, different people. They're bullies, and you know, when they get, you know, the tools of the state and the violence of the state, you know, they use it upon whoever. And that's the story.